How do you feel about snakes? Maybe not a resounding cheer from most of us, but these animals often slither into our lives whether we like it or not. What makes them so intriguing is that they're so diverse, so unique, and deserve a mention. And this video is going to do just that. Here are 10 of the scariest snakes that actually exist, and some of them will catch you by surprise. So, let's get to it. If you want to enjoy more great content in the future, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell. Number 10. Hognose snake. This interesting fellow is quite the timid snake. He's the kind who would try his best to avoid any possible confrontation. The hognose snake initially might give you the impression of a true bad guy, but it's all just an act. When threatened, it'll hiss like most snakes, then flatten its neck and raise its head off the ground like a cobra. If that doesn't deter the threat, the hognose resorts to stage 2 of its defense strategy and pretends to be dead. It does this by cleverly rolling on its back and playing dead. To sell the whole act, it even releases a foul odor and fecal matter from its cloaca and lets its tongue hang loose from the mouth. Quite the overdramatic snake if you ask me, but still so fascinating. Number 9. Flying snake. Ever heard the idiom, when pigs fly? It doesn't mean that pigs can actually fly, but it's used to convey something that can never happen. Now, what if I say, when snakes fly? What would your reaction be? Firstly, it doesn't make any sense, and secondly, that it can never happen either. Well, you'll be surprised to know that there is some truth to this statement. A flying snake might not fly in the traditional sense of the word, but it can most certainly glide in the air. It doesn't have any wings to make this possible, but uses its own body to fly, and it does so by flattening it as much as possible mid-flight. This makes the snake a lot more aerodynamic and allows it to glide easily. It can usually be seen climbing trees and moving towards the end of branches and hanging from them. Once it decides on a direction, it'll leap off the branch and onto another tree branch, and so on. They can sometimes even cover 100 meters in just one flight. Pretty incredible, right? If you see this one flying towards your direction, don't panic. They're generally not a threat to humans and are considered only slightly venomous. Number 8. Two-headed snake. You might find something like this inside a witch's hut deep in the forest, a two-headed snake used for black magic or some diabolic ritual. But their existence in nature is less to do with curses and more to do with development. Similar to Siamese twins, these two-headed snakes have a similar story. During the fetal stage, the snake develops into two identical twins in one body and are born as such. If it can happen with humans, it very much can happen with animals. A snake breeder in Florida found this two-headed snake and brought it to these vets. They were pleasantly surprised when they found out the snake doesn't just have two separate heads, but also two different hearts as well. I hope this guy lives for a long time, since they are incredibly rare in nature. Number 7. Atheris hispida. Odd-looking snakes are quite the rare treat since they're not widely distributed. The Atheris hispida is a snake which only lives in Central Africa, so good luck finding it elsewhere. These bristly-looking snakes are unique because of their extremely keeled dorsal scales. They can be generally seen climbing reeds and stalks and can also be seen basking in the sun on top of flowers and leaves. They hunt mammals, frogs, lizards, and even birds sometimes. Not much is known about their venom, but it is a neurotoxin. It can be fatal to humans if timely first aid and antivenom are not administered. Maybe best appreciate its unique look from a distance. Number 6. Spitting cobra. Cobras have earned their reputation for being one of the deadliest snakes out there. You think you know enough about cobras by watching animal shows and reading books, but this next snake might question your knowledge about them. Spitting cobras are generally species of cobras which are capable of shooting out their venom from their fangs into the eyes of the threat. Yeah, sounds hard to believe, but they really do exist. They're mostly found in the forests of South Asia and Africa and the savannas. If you ever come across such a species, it's best to be prepared by wearing some eye protection and to avoid getting its venom in your eyes. Even though the venom doesn't do much damage if it touches mammalian skin, maybe a bit of delayed blistering, it can, however, create problems if it hits the eye. It's been known to cause permanent blindness, chemosis, and corneal swelling. They can shoot their venom as far as 6.6 feet and quite quickly, so you might get hit by one even if you could react to it. Though they spit their venom, they can also deliver it through a bite as well, like any other snake. Number 5. Sunder Island pit viper. So far, we've seen a lot of snakes with varying characteristics. Though most of them probably won't bring up feelings of awe and admiration, there is a species of snake which deserves our praise for its beauty. This blue beauty can only be seen in Indonesia and East Timor. They're called the Sunder Island pit viper or white-lipped island pit viper. But don't just stand still and be mesmerized by their beauty, since these snakes are considered to be very aggressive. They don't prefer to stay idle and wait for their prey. They actively seek out and attack and bite. They generally prey on small animals like mice and frogs, but that doesn't mean that they leave humans alone. If threatened, they won't have any qualms about making the first move and attacking. In search for food, they often venture into cities and can cause problems for the people living there. Though the bite might not kill you, it still has a slew of symptoms like pain, swelling, and sometimes necrosis and severe bleeding. Once it attacks its prey, it waits it out until the toxins have taken effect, and then slowly moves in to swallow the meal whole. If you find their blue color beautiful, you'll also be interested to know that they come in green and yellow variants as well. Number 4. Long-nosed whip snake. Look at this nosy snake. It seems like the kind who likes to poke its nose into other people's business. I'm sure we all know people like that in our lives, but all jokes aside, this pointy snake is called a long-nosed whip snake and is endemic to Sri Lanka. They generally move very slowly and try to camouflage themselves as a vine or foliage of a tree. Their bright green colors help them blend in perfectly in the lowland forests of Sri Lanka. When threatened, they may keep their mouths open in the direction of the threat. As of now, very little is known about the composition of their venom. Though not fatal to humans, it can still cause symptoms of swelling, pain, bruising, numbness, and other local symptoms. But the same can't be said if the long-nosed whip manages to bite close to your eyes, head, and other vital areas. The nosy snake is yet another serpent that you want to avoid, and if you find one nosing around, show it the door from a distance. Number 3. Elephant trunk snake. The Sunder Island pit viper was one beautiful snake because of its vibrant colors, but the next one might be the ugliest snake you'll see on this list. This strange, baggy-looking creature is the elephant trunk snake. As the name suggests, its body looks like that of an elephant trunk. Scientifically called Acrocordus javanicus, yes, quite the mouthful, they are non-venomous aquatic snakes. They're so dependent on living in water that they can't live outside it for long periods of time without hurting themselves. They ambush their prey underwater and use their baggy skin to its advantage. The loose and baggy skin allows them to tightly grip onto their prey and reduce chances of them escaping. They are a nocturnal species and spend most of their life underwater. The baggy skin on this one is certainly unlike any other snake we've ever seen. Number 2. Spider-tailed horned viper. Vipers are nothing unusual and we've heard of them quite often, but not all vipers are created equal. Some have an edge when it comes to hunting their prey. The spider-tailed horned viper is unlike any other viper or any other snake in general. What makes these incredible creatures so unique is how the tail is shaped. It has a bulb-like end which is bordered by long leg-like scales, which gives the tail the appearance of a spider. The spider-tailed horned viper waves around his tail tip, mimicking the movement of a spider in an effort to bait insectivorous birds. When the bird is within its striking range, the cleverly hidden snake shoots out and bites into the unsuspecting bird. Lunch is served. Number 1. Horned viper. Most of us are scared of snakes even with their regular physical attributes. The way they move, their scales, their extending tongue, their hiss, everything about them calls out some primal fear within us. But if that wasn't enough, nature took it up a level and added a pair of horns to some of these serpents. If you ever come across one with this kind of horns, then you're probably looking at a horned viper. Native to North Africa and around the Arabian Peninsula, these horned vipers prefer to live in deserts and semi-desert areas. Because of their color and the type of scales, they perfectly blend in with the desert environment. They prefer to ambush their prey by submerging themselves under the sand, rocks, or vegetation and strike rapidly at the prey when it's within range. Once caught, the snake holds them in its mouth until the venom takes effect. They generally hunt small birds and rodents, but can also be a danger to humans if threatened. Their venom is known to cause swelling, hemorrhage, necrosis, nausea, vomiting, and hematuria. Doesn't sound fun, does it? Scientists aren't entirely sure on why they have their distinct horns, but some claim that they help them blend better, while others say it protects their eyes from the sand. Either way, the horns give them a very devilish look, don't you agree? And that's all the scariest snakes that we have for you. Have you had any experiences with any of them? If so, let us know your story in the comments. Also, be sure to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Goodbye.